Kelly, and I'm here to teach you how to crochet. We are going to learn how to crochet a scarf. To start, we need to go shopping and we need to buy some supplies. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is yarn. And what I want you to pick out is I want you to pick out a yarn that is a medium weight. Now we have thick yarns all the way down to the very thin yarns. But this yarn is vintage. It's a worsted weight yarn, meaning it's a medium weight, and it is plied. Plied yarns are easier to work with, and so this is an excellent choice. Plus, it's not super expensive because when you're first learning, you need to learn and your project may not turn out perfect. So you have to use your money wisely and choose something that is not too expensive to start. Make sure to stay away from dark colors and fuzzy yarns and single ply yarns because your crochet hook can get stuck under here and it can cause problems, and with the dark colors you can't see your stitches. So save this yarn for later when you learn how to crochet. Other supplies that we're going to need is a crochet hook, and you have quite a few options. We have options with padded handles that help you hang onto your crochet hook more easily. This is one by Waves, and you have one that's Susan Bates, and it's just the regular old traditional crochet hook. That one works too. When you're first starting, you don't want to put a ton of money into your crochet until you decide if you like it. And they also have kits like this, and I have some that I'm going to be using today, so they're out of here, and they are all the different sizes in one. So if you're sure that you want to crochet, you get the kit, and then you'll have all the different sizes. Also, when you get done with your scarf, you need to be able to weave in your ends. That means hide your ends so your project doesn't come out. And we have these are called darning needles, and they have a large eye on them and a blunt tip at the bottom so that you can hide those ends and keep your work from unraveling. And they also have little sets that come with a container with a screw on and off lid. So when you really learn how to crochet, you can have a set of different sizes of the darning needles, and it's really helpful for you. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So we say, how do we crochet? So the first thing we have to do is we have to learn how to do a slipknot. So I am going to come over here and show you how to do a slipknot. This is a sample swatch that I did last night for us, and I did a cast on edge with doing the slipknot and then chaining, and then I did single crochet, and then this is half double crochet. So this is kind of what we're going to be starting with on our Learn to Crochet swatch. So let me show you how to do the slipknot first. I have my working yarn that's coming from my ball, and it's facing toward the table, and I'm holding on to that with my 2 fingers. Now I'm going to wrap that yarn around the back of my fingers and then around to the front, making an X. Then I'm going to hold on to that with my thumb. So I'm holding on to it with my thumb. Now I'm opening up those 2 fingers straight through the back, grab that strand of yarn and pull to tighten. And the way that I know that my slipknot is correct is that it will move freely. The yarn moves freely back and forth. If it was not correct, it would be tied in a knot. So that's how you tell your slipknot is correct. So again, I have my working yarn and it is facing toward the table, and I'm going to take my first 2 fingers and wrap it around and make an X. Open my fingers, do the slipknot. Okay, then one more time, yarn toward the table, over the 2 fingers, hold it with your thumb, open your fingers up, reach into the back, and you have our slipknot. And you want to have 6 to 8 inches or more to weave in your end when you're done. Now, when you first start, you want to take your yarn that is coming from, you put your hook on your needle and you snug it up just a little bit, okay? You don't want it super tight because you have to work these stitches later. And you notice that I have my middle finger and my thumb is holding the slipknot. And over the top, I have the working yarn. It goes over the top of my fingers, and I'm holding those 2 strands there and then holding it like that. Let me show you one more time. Index finger, hold, close. Now I'm ready to work. I'm going to be doing my chain. Yarn over back to front, turn your needle through the hole. Grab that yarn, twist the needle. One more time. So I have 3 stitches on my needle. Now I'm going to go ahead and do 11. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now I have 11 stitches. You go ahead, you can do one of 2 things. I don't care where you insert your needle. You can insert the needle here. You can insert the needle back here on the purl bump, here. I don't care where you insert your needle. You just choose where you want to do it. If you want to do it here, your edge will look like that. If you want to do the purl bump in the back, see how it has purl bumps all along the back? Flip it over and just grab the purl bump there. Then this is a single crochet. So that was your first single crochet. And you saw that I started in the 2nd chain from the hook. Let me show you one more time how that worked. So I'm going to take that out. This was a chain right here. I didn't insert my hook into that one. I inserted it in the one next to it, and I flipped it over and did the purl bump. So I go in there, yarn over back to front, bring it through, yarn over, and finish my single crochet. Let's do that again. Purl bump, underneath that purl bump, see the strand right there? Bring it out from under, yarn over, bring it through. Now I have 2 single crochet, and you can see 1, 2. Okay? Then you insert the stitch again, yarn over, bring it through. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working across here, doing single crochet, and then we're going to count our stitches and make sure that we have 10. Because we cast on 11 so that we could skip a stitch, or so that we had our edge looking nice. We had 1 slip stitch edge. Let's work across here. It's actually, they call it chain 1, but on the first round we just chain 1 extra. And all right, then I just want to show you how to do 1 more row, and then we can move on to the next stitch. This right here is your last stitch. See that last purl bump? That is it. You go right into it, and see how you don't want to do your chain stitches too tight, because otherwise you'll have problems. So you get to the end of this row, okay, and you chain 1 extra. This chain is not considered a stitch. So if you go back here, 3, 6, 9, 10. You don't count that chain stitch. That chain stitch is there just to make the edge look nice and straight. It's not actually a stitch. So let's go ahead. Now we go under 2 of the strands underneath the whole V. Do a yarn over back to front, yarn over again, and then through the stitch. Let's do that again. Insert the needle underneath the full V, yarn over back to front, yarn over, and through. See how it's starting to make your single crochet? Isn't that cool? So let me go ahead and do that all the way across our row, and we will look at the half double crochets coming up next. And when we're doing our class, we do a learn to crochet swatch, and what you do is you learn each stitch and do it until you're comfortable, and then when you're done you go ahead and start the pattern for the scarf that I'm wearing. And I'll show you the scarf that I'm wearing when I get done here. And this is your last stitch. See that last V there? There. 3, 6, 9, and 10. Chain 1, turn. Right? Now we're going to, actually let's do chain 2 because we'll do the half double. Now we're going to move on to the half double crochet, and half double you start with a yarn over. So you do that yarn over back to front, insert that into this next stitch here, do a yarn over, come back out. Now we have 3 stitches on our needle. We do a yarn over, or 3 loops should I say, on our needle, and that is a half double crochet. Let's do it again. Yarn over, insert the needle, that's a yarn over, bring that loop through, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, and back through. Okay? Let's do that again. Yarn over, insert it into the next stitch, bring that yarn over back through, yarn over, 3 loops, complete the stitch by pulling it through all 3 loops, yarn over. So I'm just going to keep working across this row, and you can just kind of follow along with me. You can see how it's important not to get too tight. When you first start crocheting, you may want to get a little bit tight, and that is not fun. You could see this yarn is even, if we had a single ply yarn, it would be even worse. Do you see how that is getting caught on there? You don't want that to happen any more than you have to. All right, and the tighter you pull, the worse that happens. So there. Okay. Now, you may have noticed for the half double crochet at the very end of our rows, we are doing a chain 2. As your stitches get taller and taller, you need to do more chains on the edge to keep the edge nice and square. So that was our half double, okay? And this is our single. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about a double crochet. All right, so we go ahead and chain 2, turn our work, yarn over, bring it through the loop, go through 2 loops this time, not all 3. We're going to do that twice, yarn over again, and go through again. Do you see how it's getting taller? That's a double crochet. So we yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull it out, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. Let's do that right all along here. 2 and 2. Do you see how I'm holding my work with my thumb and my middle finger, and I have my working yarn up over my index finger, and I'm holding, maintaining my tension by those 2 fingers that I used when I was even chaining and doing anything. I put all my fingers to work that I can. I figure God gave us our fingers to use, and so I try to use them all. And that's what makes it easier for me to work. So you'll have to kind of find what works for you, but that's what works for me. So I'm just going all along, and this is called double crochet. And then the last stitch that we're going to be talking about is triple crochet, which is even bigger. It's one more step, but still very doable. And crocheting is fun. Do keep in mind that crochet takes 30% extra yarn, more than what knitting does. So if you're used to knitting, you'll need to buy a little bit more yarn. So this one right here, do you see that V stitch? That's our last stitch right there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oops, I worked to the end of my yarn. I can pick up new yarn. That must have been a bit, just a little tiny strand that I had there. So what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and put my new yarn on there and just leave this for later. And Oh, we better do a couple chains. So the next one we're going to be doing is a triple crochet, and it's also called treble crochet. And if you're looking at your abbreviations and you look online, chain is abbreviated CH, yarn over is abbreviated Y0, single crochet is abbreviated SC, half double crochet is HDC, double crochet is DC, and triple crochet is TC. So they're not too scientific about it. All right, so when we chain on the edge for the triple crochet, we have 3 chain stitches. Now I did 1 loop to join this and then 2 more chain stitches, so I am ready to go. So let me show you the triple crochet. It's a double yarn over. How about that? Double yarn over, insert it into the stitch, come back out, and then we go pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That was 3 times that we did it, and that's why they call it triple crochet. Ready? Once again, yarn over, bring that yarn over back out, pull it through 2, pull it through 2, and pull it through 2. So we got triple crochet. See how big it is getting? So I'm just going to go right on through here. 2, 2, and 2. No, don't. 1. Sorry, I had to get myself some more yarn. 2, and 3. Double yarn over. Don't forget the double yarn over. And see how I can tell this is where I've done the stitches, and I would place right next to it is where you would get the next stitch inserted into there. That's how you tell where you need to work yet next. As you'll see your working yarn coming out of the stitch you just did. See right here? This is a stitch right here, and right in there is that working yarn that I just had. So I did that one, so I can't go into that one. So I have to go into the one right next to it. Okay? So just do your double yarn overs. And then the neat thing about crochet that's really awesome that you don't have to worry about is you don't really have to bind off in crochet. All you do is when you're done, you just take your working yarn and pull it out, and I'm just getting a little stuck on there. All right, and bring that on there. You see how I put my fingers all to work, and when you first get started it feels a little like you're all fumbling fingers, and it goes away after a time. You get better at it. Okay, and then that's your last stitch right there. Alright, you go right into that one. And it's always good to count your stitches after every row, especially when you're first learning, because you might have a problem and get off stitch count and then you don't know how to fix it. So I just need to stop and grab a scissors and a darning needle. I have just finished a row of triple crochet, and I'm going to show you how to weave in your ends. So I clipped my yarn and gave myself a good 4 inches, and then you just pull the yarn through. Oh boy, I have plenty of yarn to weave in the end. Usually you only need 6 or 8 inches, but I guess I gave myself extras. So what you can do is, I like going back in to where that working yarn was, and then I'll just go down to here. And what I'm trying to do, my goal when I'm weaving in my ends for knitting and or crochet, what I'm trying to do is take that yarn and make it so that you don't see it when the ends are woven in. And I also want to weave it in a couple different directions so that the yarn doesn't pull out over time. We don't want it to pull out over time. And I find that crochet is super easy to weave in the ends because you have nice thick bulky stitches, and it gives you a lot of places to weave in your ends. So that's how I would weave in my end, and I would go ahead and cut the yarn right here and make sure it's about the same gauge. It's not pulling tight anywhere. And then you have your project woven in and it's ready to wear. Learning to crochet is great fun, and all you have to do is put in a little practice, and the stitches are easy and you can make all kinds of beautiful things, including this scarf that I'm wearing. And we start with a swatch to teach you each individual stitch, and then we branch off from there and give you the actual pattern where you're combining the different stitches to practice them. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe below, and every time we get a new video, we'll share it with you so you can learn new stuff all the time. And I hope this helps you learn to crochet and you enjoy yourself, and don't forget to practice.